Hey, welcome back. I can't believe it, but we are at our final video for this portrait. And so this is color glazing and refining details and just getting everything in that we need to get in and correcting any final mistake that we need to correct. Here are the things that I'm not happy with. Do you see the blotchiness on the neck and on the skin? I know that I get it to a point where that looks good again. But I think it's hard to watch too, because if I would have just done color glazing after the grisaille without adding white, that would look smooth, because I remember the painting looking smooth everywhere before I made all those mistakes. So, what I'm doing at the moment is kind of, remember that I was telling you about using a liner brush or a round brush to kind of correct like smaller gradients. Like we don't want to do a huge gradient that covers a lot of space. I'm using a liner brush to kind of blend in specific areas that just need to be sort of smoothed out, blended in a way to not make it look as patchy. So I think that is something that I will do with the neck as well. Although I do know that I was having problems with the neck to a point where I actually added in fake hair. I added in more hair to cover a spot that I wasn't happy with. So I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see. I'm actually looking at the final piece at the moment. So this is what it turns out to be in the end. And I added in like this, it almost looks like a t-shirt, but I added in like this chunk of hair. So you'll get to see that. We'll see how we got to that point. Adding in white. Here goes nothing. Oh. The painting that doesn't quit keeps on disappointing. What was I thinking? Why did I add white? It must have been super late. I wish I would have had like a date and time thing so I would know like, oh, it's midnight. I'm gonna make a ton of mistakes. I tried to blend out some of that white that I added in, but it's not looking smooth. There's my blender brush, it's dry. So that worked out well. Blend it while it's wet and kind of fade it into the background. But that part of her face and the right hand, both now, right here, she has like a bad, like, I don't know. All right, I applied more glaze to kind of blend it out a little bit, but I'm still not thrilled. Oh, it's actually looking way better now. But guys, I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I'm going to be spending a lot of time correcting this mistake. And it's working. Like, I'm adding in the wet paint and then blending it right away. Thankfully, I don't know if you noticed that first one that I added in where I made a huge mistake. I didn't blend it out right away. I moved on to a different spot. And even if you let acrylic dry for 30 seconds, that's 30 seconds too long before blending it. Because then after like 30 seconds to a minute, if you haven't blended it out, then you're going to take your dry blender brush and try to smooth it out, and it's going to pull up the paint in chunks. It's easy for me to tell you that. It's another thing to experience it in your own work, and you will experience it. It's like kind of hard to avoid, and mainly it's hard to avoid because we're humans and we kind of lose track of time and how long it was when we worked on a section than it was when we worked on another section. So the best thing to do is kind of have a process to let one section of the face or painting dry while you work on another one. So when you're ready to come back to that spot again, you know that you're not going to have problems with paint pulling up. Oh, this is a little bit of a trick. I'm doing a method called glazing out or oiling out in oil paint, and I call it glazing out for here. So what I'm doing is, hopefully I let everything dry enough, but I'm applying just plain glazing liquid to the entire painting to kind of even out the layers that are uneven, either by me applying too much paint in one section so the paint is kind of just getting bigger, and other parts where I didn't apply enough paint. And it gives kind of an illusion where it blends things together and levels things out. So that actually helped a lot. But if you're going to do that method, you have to make sure that it's completely dry. And I think I did those areas because I knew I hadn't worked on them for a while. I mean, this video is sped up to 1500%. So that gives you an idea of how slow I was working. I think this painting session was almost 4 hours long. So now I'm finally starting to go in with my details and adding in some of that hair. So that hair existed in the original reference photo of the girl without the sunglasses, and remember we added in the sunglasses later, so I had to mimic that hair coming over. So I don't have a reference photo for that. I'm just going to fake it. And to be completely honest with you, it doesn't look completely realistic, but that, again, that is not the motive for this piece, is like realism. I think the motive for this piece is more like fantasy and fun. So not having everything super realistic is not going to be a problem for me with this specific piece. When it comes to adding, I'm using a liner brush at the moment. So the difference between a round brush and a liner brush is a liner brush is super long, and the bristles are pretty much all the same length. And by adding a lot of fluid, gloss glazing fluid to it, or even water, but I wouldn't recommend water too much because it thins out your paint, where gloss glazing liquid will keep the integrity of your paint, but just thin out the pigment. And I want to get, so that's a liner brush, but in a round brush, the bristles start out wide and then come to a point, sort of looking like a marker. Liner brushes are great for long lines like hair, and I really have to get to what I'm doing at the moment, and that is I'm applying the, remember we added those color blurs in our Canva design to make it appear as though she's like, we're looking at her through a lens, like a camera. So there's like light flare and these like spotlights that are catching the camera at a weird angle. But look what I did. I pulled up paint because I did not allow the layer underneath to dry. So I have a huge hole there. It's not like a hole that you can see at the table, but a hole where it went all the way down to my gesso. So what I have to do is just fake it, add a little bit of clump of hair in there, make it super dark so you're not paying attention to it. And these things happen. I'm not going to like throw the whole piece away because of one little like mistake. You just come up with a solution to fake it. So another thing too is like keep in mind that since things that are darker in color or value appear to go back, it's true for your audience. So things that are dark, your audience is not going to focus on, and the things that are lighter, your audience will focus on. So that's another little bit of a trick. If you could, just get it to a point where they're not going to pay attention to your mistakes because you've blurred it out you've darkened it, you've added a color to it that will actually quite literally neutralize the viewer from looking at it, then that's a little bit of a trick. It's not that you're never going to make mistakes, it's how do you use clever tricks to avoid someone paying attention to those mistakes. Another trick is to, like if you're working on a portrait, or actually just how about any painting, to look into, what do they call it? It's not sightlines. It's like where people will view an image normally. So they'll look at an image, specific, like in the United States, since we read from left to right, top to bottom, normally when we look at an image, we start kind of there, unless there's something else to draw our attention to a different point. So really use, like, be a magician. Where do you want people to look? And you can use the tricks that we talked about, light and dark, detailed and blurriness, warm and cool, to draw the attention of the viewer to a specific place in your piece. Okay, this is the end. And I think it turned out pretty well. I'm not 100% happy with it, but I am enough. Okay, so now we're going to get to a little bit more complicated piece, but my favorite one of this entire thing. And I will see you in the next video.